All right, let's take a deep breath, everyone, and get ready to dive into something pretty fascinating.
Sounds good to me.
Today, we're going to be looking at prana and pranayama.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's really interesting stuff, and we're going to be focusing on the first chapter of this book here.
The Science of Pranayama.
That's the one, yeah.
Classic.
So much to unpack just in this first chapter. I think it's going to take us at least 3 deep dives to get through it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So to kick things off, let's start with this idea of prana.
Okay.
You know, you hear it everywhere, yoga studios, wellness retreats. But what is it really?
Well, the way this book describes it is prana is like this vital force that basically animates everything.
Okay, so it's kind of like the energy that makes everything work.
Yeah, exactly. It's the energy behind not just our bodies, but like our thoughts and feelings too.
So it's more than just like the air we breathe.
Right. It's deeper than that. It's like the underlying energy that makes everything go.
I even read somewhere that like steam engines and airplanes are powered by prana.
Well, yeah, in a way, the book uses those examples to show how prana is like the driving force behind all movement and activity in the universe.
Wow. Okay, so if prana is this like universal energy,
Yeah.
where is it in us?
Well, the text says that the heart is the seat of prana.
The heart.
Yeah, think of it like the central hub for this vital energy.
Okay, that makes sense. The heart is often seen as like the center of our emotions and life force.
Right.
But the book also talks about prana manifesting in different forms within the body.
Yes, there are 5 primary forms. Each one has a special function,
And these are called,
the sub-pranas.
okay, so 5 sub-pranas, each with a different job. What do they do?
All right, well, let's start with prana and apana.
Okay,
These are like the main players in the body.
the A-team of prana.
Haha, yeah, something like that.
Okay.
So prana mainly hangs out in the head and throat area,
Okay,
and it's all about inhalation and that upward flow of energy.
got it.
So things like your senses, your speech, even how you think, all that is prana.
So when I'm feeling super focused and on point, that's prana working its magic.
Exactly.
I like it.
Now, apana is the opposite. It lives in the lower abdomen, and it's about elimination and the downward flow.
So it's about letting go.
Yeah, think digestion, excretion, and all those reproductive functions.
So it keeps things moving and balanced.
You got it.
All right, and what about the other 3?
Okay, so we've got samana, which is all about digestion and assimilation.
Ah.
It lives in the digestive system, and it's like the fire that breaks down your food and turns it into energy.
Like our internal digestive fire.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Then there's udana up in the chest.
Okay.
That one governs speech effort, enthusiasm, willpower, all that good stuff.
So udana is what gives us that drive and motivation.
You could say that.
Okay. And last but not least,
We have vyana.
dhyana.
This one is everywhere. It permeates the whole body, and it governs circulation, movement, and the nervous system.
So it's like the network that connects all the other sub-pranas.
Exactly, and make sure everything is communicating and flowing smoothly.
Wow. It's amazing to think that something as simple as our breath is connected to all these complex functions.
It really is, and that's the beauty of pranayama.
Yeah.
It helps us understand these subtle energies and learn how to use our breath to influence them.
So speaking of influencing these energies, the book talks about this idea of centering prana.
Oh, yes.
What's that all about?
So basically, it's like focusing your breath and awareness at a specific point in your body.
Okay.
And this is supposed to have a big impact on your energy and well-being.
I'm intrigued. Where do you center your prana?
Well, the text mentions a few key places, like
Right.
centering prana at the navel.
Uh-huh.
It says that gets rid of disease and purifies the body.
So it's like an energy cleanse
Yeah, you could think of it that way.
for like digestive issues or just overall detox.
Right.
Okay, what else?
Well, it also says that if you focus prana at the tip of your nose,
Okay.
you can gain mastery over the air element.
Mastery over air, that sounds kind of mystical.
It does, but in this context, it means having really good control over your breath,
I see.
which can then lead to more calmness and mental clarity.
Right. And any other spots you can center prana?
More, the text says if you center it on your toes, it makes your body feel light.
So if I'm feeling sluggish and heavy, I should focus on my toes.
Apparently so.
It's wild to think that just shifting your awareness and breath can have such an effect.
It is, and it really shows how powerful the mind-body connection is.
Absolutely. But I got to admit, this whole drinking air through the tongue thing to reduce fatigue, that sounds a little out there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's definitely a unique concept.
Is that a literal thing or more symbolic?
Well, the text doesn't really explain the mechanics of it, but it seems like it's a specific breathing technique
Okay.
where you draw air in through your mouth and visualize it as energy.
So it's more about the visualization and intention.
Exactly. You're using your mind to direct energy and vitality.
That makes more sense.
And that brings us to the lungs.
Right, the lungs, the gateway for prana to enter the system. What does the book say about them in relation to all of this?
Well, it really stresses how important strong, healthy lungs are for pranayama.
Hmm.
It even gets into a bit of anatomy, talking about the air sacs, the pleura, the role of the diaphragm in breathing.
I remember reading somewhere that pranayama can actually strengthen and develop the lungs.
Yeah, the text mentions that too. It says it can even make your voice more powerful and melodious.
Really?
And it also talks about how diseases like pneumonia and consumption can affect the lungs.
Wow, suddenly I have a newfound appreciation for my lungs.
It's easy to take them for granted, but they're essential.
For sure.
And speaking of essential things, the text also introduces these energy channels called Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna.
Okay, energy channels. Now we're getting into the mystical stuff.
Maybe a little.
So what are these channels and how do they relate to prana?
Well, think of them as pathways for prana to move through your body.
Okay.
Ida is associated with the left nostril and represents lunar energy. It has a cooling, calming effect. Pingala is connected to the right nostril and represents solar energy. It's heating and energizing.
So it's like yin and yang.
Exactly.
Okay, and what about sushumna?
Sushumna is the central channel. It runs along your spine, and it's the pathway to higher states of consciousness.
Higher states of consciousness.
That's what they say.
Okay.
So the idea is that by controlling your breath, you can influence the flow of energy through these channels.
And the goal is to activate sushumna.
Yeah. A yogi aims to activate Sushumna to achieve balance and harmony.
I'm starting to see how pranayama is so much more than just deep breathing.
It really is. It's about understanding these subtle energies and working with them to enhance your physical, mental, and spiritual well-being.
It's a whole system.
It is, and it all starts with that understanding of prana.
Absolutely. All right, so we've covered prana, sub-pranas, energy channels centering prana.
Oh, we've covered a lot.
That's a pretty good foundation, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's still so much more to explore.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started.
In this first chapter alone.
This is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to prana and pranayama.
Well, then I guess we better keep diving.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how much depth there is to this stuff, even just in this first chapter.
Yeah, seriously. And you know what's really got me thinking is all this talk about purifying the nadis with these shat karmas.
Yeah, the shat karmas.
You mentioned there were 6 of them, right?
6 main ones, yeah.
Could we break those down a little bit?
Sure. The book only gives a quick overview in this chapter, but it's enough to get us started.
Perfect. So let's start with Dowdy. What is that exactly?
Dowdy is basically all about cleansing the digestive tract.
Okay.
Specifically the stomach and intestines, getting rid of all the gunk that builds up over time.
So like a reset button for your gut.
Yeah, exactly. And, a clean gut leads to a healthy body and mind.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do you actually do Dowdy?
Well, there are a few different techniques, some more intense than others.
Oh boy.
One method involves swallowing a long strip of cloth like gauze and then gently pulling it back out.
Wait, you're kidding, right? Nope. That's one way to do it.
That sounds a little intense for me.
It's not for everyone, that's for sure.
So what's the point of that?
It's supposed to remove excess mucus and stimulate the digestive system, kind of like an internal scrub.
Okay, I think I'll stick to my morning smoothie for now.
Haha, fair enough. There's also Vaiman Dowdy, which involves drinking salt water and inducing vomiting.
Okay, definitely sensing a theme. These shat karmas are not messing around.
They're definitely about purification and cleansing from the inside out.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, what's next on the list?
Next, we have Basti.
Basti, that's the one with the enemas, right?
You got it.
Not exactly my idea of a spa day.
Haha. Well, it's all about cleansing the colon, removing that accumulated waste.
Eat cleanse for the lower digestive tract.
Precisely. Each shat karma has its own specific target.
It's like a targeted cleanse program for your whole body.
In a way, yeah.
Okay, so Dowdy for the upper digestive tract, Basti for the colon. What about Neti? What does that one do?
Neti is all about the nasal passages.
You've probably heard of nasal irrigation. It's a similar idea.
Yeah, I've heard that it's supposed to be good for clearing out congestion and allergies.
That's right. Neti uses a little pot called a neti pot.
I've seen those.
You fill it with warm salt water and pour it through one nostril and out the other.
So it's kind of refreshing, actually.
It can be. And it's not just good for your sinuses. It's also said to improve mental clarity and focus.
Really?
Yeah, the nose is a powerful gateway.
Huh. Interesting. Okay, so we've got Dowdy, Basti, Neti. What's next?
All right, now we come to Tritaka.
Tritaka.
This one is a bit different.
Oh, how so?
It's all about gazing.
Gazing.
Yeah, steady gazing.
So not physical cleansing this time.
Not in the same way as the others. Tritaka is about focusing your eyes on a single point.
Like what?
A candle flame, a black dot, even the moon.
So it's more about mental focus and concentration.
Exactly. It's said to improve your eyesight, your concentration, even your willpower.
Mm.
It's also really good for calming and steadying the mind, which is essential for meditation and pranayama.
Makes sense. You need a clear and focused mind to really dive deep into these practices.
Exactly. All right, we're down to the last two. What do you say?
Let's do it. I'm ready for whatever these last two Shat karmas have in store.
All right, then next up is Noli.
Noli.
This one involves abdominal churning.
Abdominal churning. You gotta have to explain that one.
So basically you isolate and contract your abdominal muscles in a rolling motion.
So like an internal abdominal massage.
You could think of it that way.
That sounds intense.
Oh.
I can barely do a regular crunch.
It does take some core strength and control.
What are the benefits of Noli?
Well, it's said to massage and tone the abdominal organs, improve digestion, and stimulate that digestive fire we were talking about earlier.
So it's like a workout for your gut.
Yeah, basically, but
Yeah.
definitely one that needs to be done correctly and safely.
Right. I wouldn't want to turn anything in the wrong direction.
Definitely best to learn this one from an experienced teacher.
Okay, noted. All right, last but not least, what's the final Shat karma?
The final one is Kapalabhati.
Kapalabhati. That's the breathing exercise, right?
Yep, the one with the rapid exhales through the nose.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. It's supposed to be really energizing.
It's a powerful technique that cleanses the skull, invigorates the body, clears the nasal passages, and really wakes you up.
Wow, so we've got all these different techniques, each one targeting a specific area of the body.
It's really a holistic system for purification.
Yeah, and it's not just about physical cleansing either. It's about mental and energetic cleansing too.
Exactly. The Shat Karmas prepare you on all levels for the deeper practices of pranayama.
Makes sense. All right, so we've got a good understanding of the Shat karmas now.
I think so, yeah.
What about the actual pranayama technique?
Ah, yes, the main event.
Exactly. I'm ready to learn how to actually do this stuff and experience the benefits firsthand.
Okay, well, before we jump into specific techniques, the text mentions something important.
Okay.
It talks about the importance of having a guru or an experienced teacher, especially when it comes to kumpaka, which is breath retention.
Breath retention, so holding your breath.
Exactly.
Why is a teacher so important for that?
Well, kumaka can be pretty powerful, and it needs to be approached with caution.
Okay.
A teacher can guide you and make sure you're doing it safely and correctly.
So no holding my breath until I've got a qualified teacher by my side.
Probably a good idea.
All right, so let's start with some beginner-friendly pranayama techniques. What does the book recommend?
Well, it talks about something called easy, comfortable pranayama.
Easy, comfortable pranayama. Sounds perfect for a newbie like me.
It's a great place to start.
What does it involve?
It's pretty simple. You inhale deeply through both nostrils.
Okay.
You hold your breath comfortably for a short time, and then exhale slowly through both nostrils.
Okay, so inhale, hold, exhale.
Exactly, but don't be fooled by its simplicity. Even this basic technique can have a big impact.
Really?
Yeah, it can calm the mind, improve focus, reduce stress. It's a great way to cultivate inner peace and balance.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I could definitely use some of that in my life.
I think we all could.
So once I've mastered easy, comfortable pranayama, what's next?
Well, the text mentions a couple other techniques, Suryabhata and Ujjayi.
Suryabhata and Ujjayi, those sound a bit more advanced.
They are, but they're still considered foundational practices.
Okay, so tell me about Suryabhata.
Suryabhata is also known as solar breath.
Solar breath, okay.
You inhale through the right nostril, hold your breath, and then exhale through the left nostril.
So it's about controlling the breath through specific nostrils.
Exactly. And remember how we talked about the right nostril being connected to solar energy?
Yeah, Pingala.
That's right. Well, Suryabhata is said to activate Pingala, that solar channel.
Which brings heat, energy, and vitality.
Exactly.
So it's like an energizing breath.
It is. The text says it can also improve digestion and even help get rid of intestinal worms.
Wow. Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
Haha. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
All right, and what about Ujjayi?
Ujjayi is also known as victorious breath.
Victorious breath.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's a good one with Ujjayi. You slightly constrict the back of your throat while breathing.
Okay.
It creates this gentle oceanic sound.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that in yoga classes before.
It's very calming and soothing breath.
What are the benefits?
It's said to regulate blood pressure, soothe the mind, calm the nervous system, all that good stuff.
So if I'm feeling stressed or anxious, Ujjayi breath could help.
Absolutely. It's great for relaxation and reducing anxiety.
This is amazing. There's like a breath for every situation.
That's the beauty of pranayama.
Are there any other techniques mentioned in this chapter?
There are a couple more. The text introduces Sitkari and Satali.
Sitkari and Satali.
These are known as cooling breaths.
Cooling breaths. I could use some of that right now.
Uh-huh. They're perfect for summertime or whenever you need to cool down.
How do you do them?
With Sitkari, you inhale through your mouth with a hissing sound.
Okay.
And with Satali, you curl your tongue and inhale through your mouth like a straw.
Like drinking a smoothie with a straw.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, and what are the benefits of these cooling breaths?
They're said to reduce body heat, quench thirst, and even cure things like fevers and indigestion.
Wow, so they're good for the body and the mind?
Exactly. They also have a calming and soothing effect.
This is incredible. I never realized how much power we have over our physical and mental states just by controlling our breath.
It's pretty amazing, right?
It really is.
And we're just scratching the surface here.
There's so much more to learn.
Oh, yeah. We've only just begun our exploration of pranayama.
It's fascinating how, even just in this first chapter, there's this whole other dimension to pranayama.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's not just about the breathing techniques themselves, it's also about like a certain way of living.
Exactly. The text really emphasizes that pranayama is a way of life, not just a set of exercises.
Yeah, and it talks about the importance of cultivating certain qualities to support your practice.
Like what kind of qualities?
So it mentions things like kindness, honesty, truthfulness, respect for teachers.
Right, so it's about your inner state as well.
Yeah, it seems like there's a connection between who you are as a person and how effective your pranayama practice will be.
Absolutely. The text even says that refining your breath refines your character.
So it's about creating harmony, not just in the body, but also in your mind and your actions.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that idea.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
The text also talks about celibacy,
Oh, yes.
especially for those who are serious about pranayama.
Right.
That's a big commitment.
It is.
What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, the text suggests that conserving sexual energy helps to direct prana upwards, which then supports spiritual growth and the awakening of Kundalini.
So it's about channeling that energy inwards for transformation.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking of channeling energy, what about diet?
Ah, yes, the text talks about that too.
What kind of diet does it recommend?
It emphasizes a sattvic diet,
Sattvic diet.
which means pure, fresh, and easily digestible foods.
Okay, so lots of fruits, vegetables, whole grain.
Exactly, foods that promote clarity and lightness.
And what about foods to avoid?
Well, it specifically mentions avoiding things that are detrimental to the practice.
Like what?
Things like salt, mustard, sour, pungent, and bitter substances.
Okay, so basically anything too intense or stimulating.
Right. And it also cautions against overeating and extreme fasting.
So moderation is key.
Always a good rule of thumb.
Makes sense. The text also talks about pranayama and longevity.
Oh, yeah.
There was that whole thing about the length of your breath being connected to your lifespan.
Right. The idea is that as you refine your breath and increase your capacity for kumbhaka,
Breath retention.
exactly, you essentially slow down the aging process.
So pranayama is like an anti-aging practice.
You could say that it's about optimizing your life force and extending your vitality.
That's incredible. And it even suggests that through advanced practices, yogis can transcend the limitations of time.
It does.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
Wow. Well, I have to say, this first chapter alone has been a real eye-opener.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's given me a whole new understanding of the power of breath and the wisdom behind these ancient practices.
You've been a great student.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure exploring these concepts with you.
Likewise. And I know our listeners are probably feeling just as inspired as I am.
I hope so.
So where do we go from here?
Well, there's still so much more to uncover.
Oh yeah, we've only just scratched the surface.
Right, this is just the beginning of our exploration of prana and pranayama.
So I guess that means we'll be back for another deep dive.
Absolutely. We'll be diving into the next chapter and uncovering even more secrets of this ancient practice.
Can't wait until then. Keep breathing deeply, everyone, and stay curious.
Namaste.
Mom say.